So yeah, this is gonna be a long one, ain't it? Let's start anyway. So, usually on these earliers or laters or this or that or blue, because I've got a bit of like doing a bit of work later, I don't usually do one of the long ones. I think you see that there, my nose is stuffy, but I try and keep it down. But, because the next couple of days are going to be a bit of a merger, I am merging seasons together. And, because the timing is right and the stars aligned, I'm getting rid of Psych with the final 3 seasons, season 6 to 9, all on one video. So, I'm going to talk about it overall, and I'm going to talk about the finer points later. Also, that looks amazing. Also, yeah, I just want to make sure I get the episode right. That's what I'm getting the thing. And I saw the Tomorrow Plus One, and that's exciting. Anyway, that's besides the point. I haven't even watched it yet. So, yeah. Let's get on to that. So, this will be this season, season 6. And besides one season, which is only going to appear for one bit, I'm just going to use these and then change it. I know I don't need to. I know it is true. But I'm going to do it anyway, so let's do it. Anyway, the only thing that I want to talk about in this section is the fact that the whole thing has Sean's dad working as sort of like the head of the consultants agency. And you get the dynamic of a lot of the stuff. And a lot of jokes are really funny. Like, there's one joke where it's like, you're not hired on my account. I'm not. Dad, he's hired. They don't do it too often, but that is just one of the funniest jokes. And again, he loses a position. I think I've said this when I talked about season 5. He loses the position. He quits. But I wished they did it for season 7 and 8. I can't think. But yeah. With season 7 has, in my opinion, the best episode Psych has ever done. And I say that firmly. Which is Turn Right or Left for Dead. Which is essentially like a what if. A small what if. It's basically, what if I didn't give her my jacket and all of this didn't happen. And you had 2 choices. You have left and you have right. Because the whole thing is about I'm not a psychic. The whole show is about I'm faking it. And one person who I'm slowly falling in love with, which is Julianne, finds out. And she reacts fairly. Because she's been lied to before. Her family, not her parents, but a lot of people who go out with her mother, including her father, weren't exactly reliable people. So with this, all of this being said, this sort of has this pattern, and I like how she sort of treats it, looks at it, understands it, but it's still messed up. It is still bad and really horrible. But with all that, it's really interesting to look at and think about her reaction. And then, at a certain point, it's revealed, he goes into the chief's office. Chief, she goes in, covering for me. I'm like, what? It's the same thing, but I'm going to mention it again. But it's so interesting, but it's like, covering for me. He looks at her and it's like, I'm going to say, you told me to do this. You asked me to do this. And it's like, nope, it's a bit unfair. And it's like, it's really interesting. That it's like, to be fair with Sean wasn't at first put in a position where he had a choice. He could do these things where he sort of can read and understand people. But because of certain things, And the fact that he was like, oh, I've just reported all these crimes because I think this person's guilty. And I was like, well, I think you're guilty. But at a certain point, he could have revealed himself. But it's really interesting. You can tell this one is different. There's a different image. So yeah, you couldn't really tell between the last two. So that's fun that I did it at all. But yeah. Season 8 is the last one of sorts. And it has three sort of you bugger that I want to talk about, which is one, they do a straight up Harry Potter episode where Harry Potter / British gang, sort of like gang film, where they bring back the artist as like, oh, I was an artist, I was undercover, which, even though I love the episode with like British gang, and I just love that because British gangsters I just love as an idea of a genre. I just hate the idea of like, oh yes, I wasn't an artist, it was all a cover up. Beep, you are stupid. You also have the nightmare, which I like as the idea of like blending the nightmare. Plus the breakup being like, they broke up, they had a thing where they broke up. It's like, yep, this is the end. And I like the whole idea of like slowly breaking the group up, slowly breaking apart this sort of group that they've had. And I like that they've given videos, including to one-off cameos, like, I didn't know him, what? Which is so funny. Yeah. But what the one other thing which I like is including one of the episodes that I did talk about, because all that's in it is basically the detective, I think it's Lassie? Anyway. Always tries to be on him, being like, Sean starts a psychic, even doing a lie detector, even though the lie detector is absolutely bullshit and it doesn't work. Doing the whole 9 miles, doing this, that, the other, being like, I will prove that you are not a detective. At the final moment, Sean goes, you know what? You only one person, and I will admit that I'm not a. It's like, you had proof. I think it's one of the things that, like, if they saw each other, it's like, I know, you know, that I'm not telling you. But he does not care. You also have the episode because, like, at a certain point, he becomes the chief and the head. Also, there is a lot to talk about this because the other episode is a little bit shorter than the others. It just basically, they get a new detective and they get a bunch of like psychics together and it's like, oh, get it up all the way, do it all the way, go full nuts, and it's just absolutely hilarious. Also, the last thing which is interesting to talk about is they did a live studio, which I don't know if they showed all of it. They did kind of look like they cut it a bit, but it's basically, after season 8, there's no more. It's all done. It's all over. It's just interesting. It's fun to look at this sort of show that did 8 seasons. And besides, like, the last episode, it's like 16 episodes per season. Let me just check. Yeah. 16 episodes per season, besides season 8, which only has, technically story-wise, 10. But it's really fun, really dynamic, and always feels fresh. The ideas, even the ones I haven't talked about, are fun, interesting, and overall just amazing and exciting to watch. So yeah, welcome to my free reviews in a way. That's why this is long. Besides season 8, which I surprisingly had way more to talk about than I thought I did. Or season 7, I had a bit to talk about that. But this is really good. I love it. I find it entertaining. It's just really good. And it is a good way to end it on. So yeah. Whew. I hope you enjoy. I hope you like. And I definitely hope you watch this series. But most importantly, good night.